Hey everyone, welcome. Get comfortable, and let's get into tonight's Reddit stories. Imagine you fall asleep, miss a few calls, and then wake up to find your partner has let themselves into your apartment using your hidden key without asking you first. Is that caring? Or totally crossing a line? Today's story is about a 6-month relationship where being worried turned into a serious boundary issue. My 35-year-old girlfriend let herself into my apartment using my hidden key because I wasn't answering my phone. My girlfriend is 35, I'm 27, and we've been together for about 6 months. Recently, she let herself into my apartment because I fell asleep and wasn't answering my phone. She doesn't have a key. I've never given her one. Not because I'm hiding anything. I just don't want to. Plus, I have a roommate, so it's not just my decision anyway. She stays over a lot, but to me, that doesn't automatically mean she gets open access to the place. She also has her own apartment. In my building, security is supposed to call first, and they did. But when I didn't answer, they just let her up anyway. She already knew where my hidden key was because she'd seen me use it before. So when I didn't pick up, she came over and used the hidden key to let herself in. When I confronted her about it, she acted like it was totally normal. Like the fact that she was worried made it okay. But I feel violated. And this isn't the first boundary issue. She's been pushing for us to share locations, and I've said no. She's asked for a key before in case she can't reach me. But honestly, I just don't want to give her one. That turned into an argument, and she told me even her friends think it's weird she doesn't have a key to my place. I couldn't care less. I don't want anybody to have unrestricted access to my personal space. She leaves stuff at my place all the time, which I don't mind by itself. But whenever I want some alone time and text her after work, she'll say something like, "Ah, my things are there." We see each other basically every day, but I'd also like some time to myself. To me, if you can't reach someone, you wait. You don't decide you're entitled to enter their home. I would never do that to her or to anyone else. Is this just how relationships work and I'm being weird about it? Maybe I'm avoidant? Top commenters immediately focused on one key detail. Did they actually have plans that day? Or did she just decide on her own to go over and let herself in? For a lot of people, that difference really matters. If there were no agreed-upon plans, it makes what she did feel even more intrusive. Several people pointed out that he's already tried to set boundaries, and she's been brushing them off. She's using her friends' opinions like, "It's weird I don't have a key," to pressure him, even though he's made it clear that both he and his roommate are uncomfortable with anyone having unrestricted access. Commenters asked him to picture how he'd feel if his roommate's girlfriend had a key and could just walk in whenever she wanted without any discussion. The advice was pretty straightforward. Move the hidden key so only he and his roommate know where it is. Clearly tell his girlfriend not to come over unannounced or let herself in, and be prepared for her to end the relationship if she can't accept that. A lot of people also said he should talk to building security and make sure they understand she's not automatically allowed up just because she shows up at the door. Others were blunter. They said it doesn't matter what most couples do. What matters is that he doesn't like this, and she isn't respecting that. Some compared this dynamic to prisoner and prison guard, saying that if someone is willing to basically break into your place at 6 months in, just because you didn't answer your phone, that's a huge red flag. Their suggestion? Find a new hiding spot for the key, talk to security, and seriously consider walking away from the relationship if this pattern keeps going. What do you think? Was this a reasonable reaction from a worried partner or a serious boundary violation just 6 months into dating? Would you be okay with a boyfriend or girlfriend using a hidden key to get into your place if you didn't pick up your phone? Tell me how you'd handle this in the comments below, and if you've ever been in a similar situation, I'd really like to hear your story. Imagine going through the absolute worst moments of your life. Grief, postpartum despair, your only remaining parent's immigration status hanging by a thread, and the person who promised to be your partner either walks away or makes it all about themselves. How many times can that happen before you stop calling it a rough patch and start questioning the whole marriage? I am so disappointed in my husband, and I don't know how to get past it. I'm 33, my husband is 37, and we've been together for 13 years, married for 10. On paper, our life looks good. We both have stable jobs and 2 healthy little kids. But right now, I am so disappointed in him, and I honestly don't know what to do. All throughout our relationship, there have been multiple times where he's really let me down and been a terrible support system. He does not handle stress well, so it usually ends up on me to pick up the pieces and figure out solutions to whatever is going on. Somehow, he always seems to be more stressed and overwhelmed than I am, even in situations where I'm the one who actually needs the support. For example, a few years ago, my mom was in the ICU, and things did not look good. She was dying, and there was nothing left to do for her except withdraw life support, but I was in denial and couldn't let her go. That was, by far, the lowest point of my life, between the stress of my mom's impending death, working full-time, and going to nursing school full-time. I will never forget my husband telling me that he needed to get away because of all the stress, and then actually leaving town to go visit his parents 2 hours north of us. It felt, and still feels, like such a stupid and heartless thing to do to someone you love who's going through something that awful. And for context, my mom and my husband were not close at all. They had only met a handful of times. Another example, I had just had our first baby. The postpartum baby blues were hitting me hard. I told him that I wanted to go to sleep and never wake up. In response, he got enraged and hostile with me, threatening to break down bedroom doors that I would shut, and just overall being in a really foul mood. Those are just 2 of many times throughout our relationship where he has been a bad support system. The most recent thing that happened has officially pushed me over the edge, and I don't know how to move past it. My dad is a legal permanent resident. Even though he's been in the United States for decades, he never went all the way and became a citizen. Recently, that changed, and we decided to try to get him naturalized. We started the process last April, and given the current political climate, it has been extremely stressful for both him and me, to say the least. His immigration interview was on Thursday, and for anyone who doesn't know, this is basically the thing that makes or breaks you becoming a citizen. For some people, it's also where they're detained and sent to a detention center if they find anything in your records that they think should mean you don't get to stay in the United States. My dad's English is not great, so we were really scared he wouldn't pass the civics test. He also has some cognitive decline, which added another layer of stress. I had spent months practicing the questions with him, gathering documents, character letters, and any shred of proof showing his good character to bring to his interview. Leading up to the interview was especially stressful, and all the paperwork prep fell on me to make sure everything was in order. The night before his immigration interview, I was literally nauseous from anxiety. I was in my home office, frantically trying to finish my work. I work remotely, so that I could focus on getting the last of his documents together. My husband walks in and asks what the plan is for dinner. That already irritated me because honestly, making dinner was the absolute last thing on my mind at that point. I tried to hide the irritation in my voice and very politely told him that I wasn't hungry because of how stressed I was. Immediately, I felt the vibe shift and could see he was annoyed. He left my office and I kept working. About an hour later, he brings the kids upstairs so we can get them to bed. At this point, it's obvious he's in a bad mood. He sees me frantically sorting papers and, in this curt tone, asks if I need help. At that point, yes, I desperately needed help. But his whole demeanor was so off-putting that I asked why he was in such a bad mood. Everything just spiraled from there. To sum up the argument and how it ended, He said that my stress was stressing him out. Then he went to bed while I stayed up until 2 in the morning sorting papers. My mom is gone and I don't have siblings. My dad is the only family I have left. Other than my mom's death, his immigration process has been the most stressful thing I've ever gone through. I am so beyond disappointed in my husband that he can't seem to ever step up and be the support system I need. I don't understand how he can twist situations that have almost nothing to do with him into full-blown crises for himself. I feel like I'm completely on my own. I'm terrified that every terrible thing that will ever happen to me is always going to end with him crashing out and me being left alone to pick up the pieces. We've tried marriage counseling and haven't made much progress. I've asked him to see a therapist and a psychiatrist, and he claims they both say there's nothing wrong with him. I don't know what to do. I feel so let down by his lack of support and by the way he makes everything about himself every single time. I am exhausted, and I feel so alone. What do you even do in a situation like this? One commenter focused on one main question. Would her life actually be better if this man wasn't her husband? They pointed out that only she can really answer that, but that this is the real decision she's circling around. Another commenter said this doesn't sound like a partnership at all. They asked what the point of marriage is if, during her biggest crises, he isn't the one rubbing her back, feeding the kids, or shielding her from extra stress. Instead, he seems to add to it. They said that without major change and probably more serious couples therapy, it's hard to justify staying in a situation where she feels this alone. At the same time, they acknowledged how hard it is to leave when you don't have a big support network or village, and hope she has someone else to lean on, or at least some way to get a break. They also said they hoped her dad's interview went, or will go, well, given how much work and worry she's put into it. Another person went further and said this isn't just someone who's bad at support, but someone who consistently centers himself when she's at her lowest. They compared it to their own experience. This commenter had cancer and said they couldn't imagine getting through it without a truly supportive spouse. They urged her to think honestly about what her husband would do if she faced something like that. Would he step up or leave her to struggle and make things worse? And if he can't be a good husband when she's desperate for help, they questioned whether he's a good husband at all. What do you think about this situation? Is this someone who just can't handle stress and needs help? Or is this a fundamental failure as a partner? If you were in her shoes, no siblings, one parent left, and a spouse who shuts down when you need them most, what would you do next? Share your thoughts in the comments, and if you've ever been through something similar, tell your story below. Imagine running into an old coworker, casually asking how everyone's doing, and then hearing something about your partner that makes your stomach drop. Do you trust what your partner says or what someone else tells you, especially when they have no reason to lie? A coworker told me something about my boyfriend that I can't unhear. So, my boyfriend and I first met at work. I ended up leaving that job because of some personal substance abuse issues. I got myself together and all that. My boyfriend still works there, but I don't anymore. While I was there was this one coworker I was pretty cool with. A guy, and he also knows my boyfriend. Fast forward to today, I ran into that coworker at a bus stop. We caught up, asked about each other and everything. At some point I asked, "How's everybody?" Then I specifically asked about my boyfriend. And just so you know, we weren't dating when we were working together, so nobody knew about us, not even this coworker. He told me my boyfriend was good and said some other things. Out of curiosity, I asked, "Well, is he talking to any girls there?" And he told me, "Well, no, but he did ask me recently if I had any female friends who were trying to link up." I asked him, like, when was this? He said it was in December. My boyfriend and I have been together since October. Also, this coworker is gay, so it's not like he'd lie to break us up and try to get with me or anything like that. I brought it up to my boyfriend, and of course, he played stupid. But now I don't know if I'm overreacting because, like he said, everyone there is fond of him, so what reason would the coworker have to lie about him? Plus, the coworker didn't even know we were together. I blocked my boyfriend, deleted all his pictures and everything. But now I'm stuck wondering, how do I know if he's lying? A lot of people in the comments focused on the fact that you even asked that question in the first place. One top commenter pointed out that if you're asking a coworker whether your boyfriend is talking to other girls and then immediately follow up about your boyfriend, that already shows something. Deep down, you suspected something was off. You might not have liked the answer, but a part of you already knew. Another highly upvoted response said the real issue here is trust. The moment you felt the need to go to a third party to verify your boyfriend's behavior, that's a sign you don't fully trust him. And their take was that regardless of whether the coworker is telling the truth or not, staying in a relationship where you're already doubting and checking up like this isn't healthy. Someone else found your choice of question pretty telling. They thought it was odd that out of all the things you could have asked this old colleague, how work is, how people are doing, what's new, you specifically honed in on whether your boyfriend was talking to girls at work. From their perspective, it looked less like a random question and more like you were already looking for a reason or an excuse to walk away from the relationship. What do you think here? Do you trust the coworker's story? Or do you think this was more about existing doubts in the relationship? If you were in her position, would you have blocked the boyfriend right away or tried to dig deeper first? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy these Reddit relationship stories, don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Imagine finding out, a year into your relationship, that your partner has slept with 2 of their closest friends. The same friends you've been hanging out with, laughing with, trying to bond with. And the only reason you find out is because you made a joke at dinner. What would you even do with that? My girlfriend only just told me she slept with 2 of her close friends. We're 1 year in. I don't know how to feel. I'm a 25-year-old guy. My girlfriend's 24, and she has this group of male friends from uni. I've never had a problem with that. I've actually gone along to some of their celebrations, hung out with all of them, and really tried my best to get involved with her life and her friend group. Recently, when we were going out for a meal, she was talking about how one of them had made some bad decisions and slept with someone on a night out. I asked her as a joke, something like, "Surely that didn't happen with you and some of the guys in that friendship group?" And then she just goes quiet and says, "Yeah, I've slept with 2 of them before we knew each other." Meaning before me and her got together. For me, that hit on 2 levels. First, it felt weird that she'd slept with her close friends that I've met and gone for drinks with. And second, it really bothered me that she'd kept that from me for a whole year into the relationship. Now I'm worried about what other secrets there might be. There are a few things I'm feeling weird about right now, and I'm overthinking everything because of this new info. When I told her it upset me, she just said, "What can I do about it?" A lot of people in the comments focused less on her past and more on the fact that she chose not to tell him for an entire year. One woman said she'd be out immediately, not because her partner had slept with friends before, but because hiding that when those guys are still close in her life felt like a serious breach of trust. Others echoed that same idea. This wasn't just some random hookup from years ago. These are 2 of her close friends that the boyfriend has been socializing with. They felt that's relevant information that most people would want to know early on, and that leaving it out is basically dishonesty by omission. Several commenters said this would be a deal breaker for them personally. One even called it a relationship extinction event, meaning the moment they found this out, the relationship would be over, because they'd never be able to fully relax or trust the dynamic with those friends again. What do you think about the situation? Is this just part of her past that doesn't matter now, or does keeping it from him for a year cross a line for you? If you were in his shoes, would you stay and try to work through the trust issues, or would this be the end of the relationship? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy these stories, Don't forget to like and subscribe for more.